Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And as many of you know, I am loyal to Royal. I've been with Royal Caribbean for 95% of my cruises, maybe even more, that I have sailed with Royal Caribbean. And so they are my main cruise line. And many of you may think that I'm actually in a relationship with Royal Caribbean because of the time I spend with them, the money I spend with them, all the great memories I make with them. So what I want to do in today's video is talk about, one of my deepest fears, I guess, when it comes to Royal Caribbean. And that is talk about how we may be drifting apart. And I'm curious, at one point, are we headed towards a breakup? So what I do in my personal life when I'm in a relationship, and it doesn't happen too often, is I look to the actions of that person, in this case, of Royal Caribbean, to see, do they still want me? Am I still the person that they want? And so what I'm going to do today is analyze the Icon of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's newest, latest, and greatest cruise ship that is going to be coming out, to see if that cruise ship aligns to me and, Royal Caribbean telling me that they want me to go on Icon of the Seas and that they want me to be part of their companies. But let's talk about the Icon of the Seas and truly how large it is. So it is going to have a max capacity of 7,600 people. With crew, that's going to be over 10,000 people on just one ship on the Icon of the Seas. And that is a ton of people to be on the ship. Now, when I'm thinking of that many people on a ship, my first concern is, am I going to be just another number? It is very easy to get lost in the crowd on the larger cruise ships because you are going to be one of 7,600 people there for only 7 days. I also worry how easy it is to meet people on a ship, me being a solo cruiser, because, I want to see those people again, or I need to see them a few times over to build a relationship. I can talk to some people just once, but if I never meet them again, it's difficult to get a deeper style relationship or a deeper style conversation, which I really enjoy. Now, the ship is also going to be big in size to accommodate all of those people. It is going to be 20 decks tall, which is the largest cruise ship that has ever been built. It's also going to come in at 250,800 gross tonnage. To keep this in perspective, the Wonder of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's current largest ship, is only 235,600 gross tonnage. So a significant increase, going up another 20,000 gross tons to build the Icon of the Seas. What are some of the issues that come up by having a bigger cruise ship like this? The first one that I think about is people with mobility issues. A lot of people that go on cruises, I don't think that this applies to me just yet, don't want to walk long distances. I will say that I certainly hate knowing I left something in the room and it is 10 minutes away walking, but I can physically do that still. But there are a lot of people that enjoy going on cruises that their mobility is dwindling or it's a little bit reduced, and so having a massive ship like this might not be the best for those individuals. It's also going to be really tough to do it all. So if you're coming on to the Icon of the Seas, even the Wonder of the Seas, I would argue, for a week-long cruise, you're going to have to plan to try and see and do it all. These ships are huge with more than enough to do over the entire week. I promise you, you will not get bored. But if anything, you might actually feel burned out at the end of your vacation because you tried to see and do it all. I personally like to relax when I'm on vacation. And you know what, when I'm trying to do it all or trying to see all the sights on a new ship, I don't really relax that much. And so I'm speaking from personal experience here on getting off of a cruise ship and feeling burned out. I want to be able to unwind, relax. And it's one reason I like smaller ships is eventually I run out of things to do. The Icon of the Seas, as it is going to be their newest and latest product, also has some enhancements when it comes to the features that are going to be there. So as much as you don't want to try to do it all, or as much as I probably would try to do it all, some of it I'm not going to do. So they've got some over-the-top amenities that are going to come with the Icon of the Seas, several of which I'm probably never going to take advantage of, and so they are wasted space to me. The first is going to be the Category 6 water slide. So a lot of people are really excited about these. They're going to be record-breaking water slides. I am not a water slide person. I honestly don't even really get into the pool that terribly much when I'm on a cruise ship. But water slides do not do it for me. I'm not excited about those being on the ship because I'm never going to use it. So by them enhancing that area, making it larger, kind of gives me space that I will not be hanging out in more space on the ship that's just not for me. The next thing that they're going to be rolling out is the Surfside Neighborhood. This is a brand new neighborhood. As you know, the Oasis class has always had different kind of neighborhoods, such as Central Park or what's Boardwalk Balcony. I was blanking on the names of those for a second. That are neighborhoods. Now they're going to have Surfside, which is going to be in the back part of the ship, which I think is prime real estate. That is going to be geared and tailored just to families. So this is an entire neighborhood now, not including, Wonder has a suite neighborhood on it, which I do use, but often if you're not in a suite, you wouldn't use it either. But it is now a second neighborhood that I will not be using. I will try my best to stay out of the family section. Again, I am a solo cruiser. When I'm going on these cruises, I don't necessarily want to be around a lot of kids running around, even teenagers running around. However, they are making some spaces that I am really going to like. So to counterbalance the Surfside family neighborhood, they are now going to be building out the Hideaway Beach section. And this is going to be an adults exclusive area, very similar to how you may think of the Solarium, but I am excited that they are giving the people who do not want to be around kids the space to be able to do so. However, this space, I was reading some of the fine print on it, it's going to be limited to 250 people. Now, on a cruise ship of 7,600, I don't know how quick that's going to, be filling up. I imagine the Chairhogs are going to be running rampant in this section. One of the other features that I'm very excited about is the Aqua Dome. So this is going to be in the back part of the ship, the aft section, and it is going to be a massive dome that is going to encompass that aft section of the ship. It's going to replace where the Aqua Theater is in the other Oasis class ships, but it is not replacing the actual Aqua Show. The Aqua Show will still go on, luckily. That is one of my favorite things on the cruise ships. So I really like the fact that, they're putting some time and some energy into this space, because it's also going to have retail, it's going to have shopping, which I guess is retail. You're going to have some restaurants. It's going to become more of a neighborhood kind of feel, though they didn't actually call it a neighborhood, but there's going to be more that you can actually do in this space. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. One of the interesting things about the Icon of the Seas is that it is going to have fewer staterooms than the Wonder of the Seas. Even though it is about 20,000 gross tons bigger, it's going to have less staterooms. Wonder of the Seas has 50 less staterooms than the Icon of the Seas. However, the Icon of the Seas can handle 612 more passengers with 50 less rooms. So that is again telling me that they are really banking on the fact that there's not just going to be a solo person in those cabins. I imagine I'm probably going to be significantly priced out of the Icon of the Seas, and that they're really going to be driving those staterooms to have 3 or more people inside of them. So they are saying that their staterooms, majority of them, will all have 3 berths or more. So that way, if you're coming with a family, it's easier for you to stay in just one room. And this is also something that really resonates with their Kids Sail Free promotion, which I feel like is just a continuous process at this point. It is always Kids Sail Free. And so with Icon of the Seas, I really see them doubling down on families. A lot of the over-the-top features that I just talked about are going to be based on families entertaining them. And so with the new staterooms that they're going to have, they're going to allow for even more families to be able to come on board. Now, if I'm looking at the actions of Royal Caribbean, everything that I just talked about, kind of tells you why I think we may, unfortunately, be heading towards a breakup, or we may be drifting apart. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think there's a lot of things that are going to really, maybe push me away over the years, but I don't think that that's coming next week by any stretch of the imagination. But by Royal Caribbean doubling down on families, which I am clearly just a solo cruiser. You guys know that I love going on solo cruises. That's not me. I'm not that guest profile that they're targeting. So the things that they're building and doing for families specifically in mind, multi-generational groups of people traveling together, I don't fit that. And so oftentimes I'm left in limbo, or this middle land, where I love going on Royal Caribbean cruises, but oftentimes I may struggle to find what's an activity or something I can do that is going to be for me, that I am going to enjoy. Now, I also worry that I fell in love with the smaller ships. So I fell in love with Empress, Majesty, Enchantment of the Seas. Those ships were doing the weekend sailing, some of you may remember, prior to us having the Freedom of the Seas. And that's where I really fell in love with Royal Caribbean and these smaller ships, which I still adore. And most of those that I just named have already been sold off. And I worry that they're going to sell even more of those cruise ships. And if that is the case, then the only option is to go on one of these enormous cruise ships. That's just not going to be for me. And I am, unfortunately, at that point, going to have to, select another cruise line where my loyalty is going to lie. So again, I don't think this is happening overnight, but it is certainly something that continues to weigh on my mind, that I'm putting all this effort and energy into Royal Caribbean when we could be heading for a divorce. All right, everybody, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. Hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon.